Welcome to the fast break. This is not the OT edition because this is coming out before.
Just extra
breaking news.
This is the warm-ups. This is warm-ups, I guess. This is after the fast break has been recorded.
Is it cool down?
Talking injuries here on the fast break.
This is after the fast break was recorded.
This is
but
the
it's
cool
coming
down?
out before. Yeah, this is the cool down, but it's coming out before.
Also the warm-ups, yeah.
Yeah, so this is the warm-up / cool down here on the Fast Break podcast. While we were recording, DeMarcus Cousins went down, and you guys probably saw late in that game against the Rockets and Pelicans. He was shooting, I think, an and one, went to chase down the board, ended up reaching the ball, tried to pick it up, landed wrong on his left leg, and now Adrian Wojnarowski, our buddy over at ESPN, says New Orleans All-Star DeMarcus Cousins has left Achilles injury. League sources tell ESPN he's to undergo an MRI to determine severity. There's also a significant fear within the Pelicans that DeMarcus Cousins' Achilles injury is serious. Initial diagnosis doesn't look good, one source tells ESPN. And Alvin Gentry recently coming out. And actually, Woj just dropped another bomb. DeMarcus Cousins has suffered a torn left Achilles tendons. League source tell ESPN he will miss the rest of the season. MRI is coming soon, but diagnosis is clear. So, sorry to laugh. It's a serious situation.
It's horrible.
But at least, it's funny just Woj dropping bombs as we're speaking.
Yeah.
We're still getting the news as it's breaking right now.
Yeah.
So what's the reaction to DeMarcus Cousins tearing his left Achilles and being out for the season?
So much for those trade rumors, right?
Yeah.
So much for getting something. Like, the big thing for me is my first thoughts with this were, okay, so you can't trade him now. All right, so you're probably, like, right now you're 3 games ahead of the Clippers, who are the first team out of the playoffs. The first question to me, do the Pelicans make the playoffs without Boogie? Maybe now they're like a 7 or 8 instead of 6 where they are right now. But the big question for Boogie is what's going to happen when you go to get a contract, because is some team going to want to give you money because you're still going to probably be injured beginning of the season, depending on how your rehab goes.
Let's talk about this season, and then we'll get into the contract situation, because that's stuff that's definitely going to be front and center, because this guy's an all-star. He's going to demand a max, but now with this injury, it's definitely going to change things. But let's look at this season right now. Obviously, you mentioned, are the playoffs still a real possibility for the New Orleans Pelicans? We've seen Anthony Davis before take this team to the playoffs. It was once in his career, but he was able to do it. That was with a weaker Western Conference with KD being out, him going up pretty much against Russell Westbrook for that 8th seed. I forget exactly what year that was, but AD was able to get this team there. Outside of AD and outside of Drew Holiday, there's not much to this team, but there's not much in that Western Conference at the bottom. So do you feel like, at least in your gut right now, gut reaction, do you feel like this team could still hold on to a playoff spot?
I don't think there's a very good chance. I think if the Clippers don't blow it up, they're going to walk back into the conversation. I think there is a couple of teams like the Jazz could be promising. The Lakers have been on a tear lately. Like,
Lakers could be a playoff team.
There's weird stuff happening right now in the West, at the bottom of the West, that you can't predict. And AD is phenomenal. Drew has been playing at another level, and part-time, like that's the thing. It's always that asterisk of, when's he going to go down? When's he going to fall off the hot streak? I loved Rondo's addition there. I think he's been phenomenal. But all in all, Rick, you said, this is an 8th seed, potentially 9th seed now. Like, they're on that teeter-totter of making the playoffs in my mind, because Boogie, really, they just hit their hot streak. They were,
8-2.
Win 7 of the last 8 games, and Boogie was averaging
4-game win streak, too. They just beat the Red Hot Rockets.
Yeah, they beat the Rockets, the Celtics, the Blazers in that streak. Boogie was averaging 23, 15.4 boards, 7 assists, 2.8 steals, and 2 blocks in those last 8 games. I mean, just absolutely ridiculous numbers. They were hitting their groove as these two guys together, and you feel for them, because this might mean, this is like the sign. Yes, I don't think they're going to be like, all right, Celtics have Anthony Davis for, a couple picks now, but I think they're seriously now fighting for their playoff hopes.
Well, and for sure, and the biggest thing that I looked up, just because I know the Boston Celtics applied for this, but the disabled player exception in the NBA that's written into the CBA, you have to apply by that by January 15th. So this happened on January 26th. I don't think New Orleans is able to free up that space that Boogie's not going to be using as he's out for the season. So it looks like they're still going to be in cap hell, and it really looks like it's going to be bleak for them to even make a move to improve this team. So pretty much what you see is what you get out there for New Orleans. And again, like you mentioned, Drew was playing really well. Anthony Davis has been Anthony Davis out there. And you like what you see from those players, but then taking away Boogie, taking away your second best player, a guy who's been an absolute machine lately, it's going to be deflating. It might be something where you can turn into a positive, like, hey, let's win this for Boogie. But then again, you're still not having that talent out there. And it's just something that's worrisome where I don't think this team is going to at least keep it going. And maybe you sneak in as an 8 seed. Maybe it's a really heartwarming story.
Yeah.
But guess who you're facing? You're facing the Warriors if you can do that, and you're getting swept in 4. And it sucks saying that because Boogie's been such a phenomenal player to watch this year. And it was finally going to be Boogie making the playoffs. But
they were clicking so well, too. And that's the shitty part. Like, watching, like, we pull up the injury, and honestly, my first thought was like, God damn, it looks just like when Kobe had his injury. Like Rudy Gay, another guy, obviously earlier in his career from when Kobe tore his, but like it's still a thing. Yes, Boogie is still younger than both of those guys when this happened, but Boogie's game was predicated on his mobility. He was a basically a guard in a power forward center body. He was smooth, he had good handles. Like how this affects him going forward is scary as hell. Like I have a huge fear of him coming off of this being less mobile version of himself, which is still valuable, but like it is definitely a massive chunk of his game.
Well, we've also seen Boogie can be just a force down low as well.
Yeah.
I mean, DeMarcus Cousins, he might not be as quick as he was down the low post, but he's still got the biggest body in the NBA. He knows how to use that damn thing too. He's also still a phenomenal shooter as well. I mean, I think I'm not too worried about Boogie coming back. I know Achilles injuries can be devastating to players' careers.
Yeah.
But then again, we've seen guys come back before and be able to be better. And also, DeMarcus is still young, and he still has the ability to recover from injuries if he's able to be taken care of right. But Ricky, let's just at least jump into the fact that Boogie is looming with that free agency coming up. And it's obviously a huge blow to him not being able to make it to the playoffs for the first time if this team is able to do so. They were looking on the way to do that. Do you feel like at least having that ability to say, we have Anthony Davis, we have Drew Holiday, both of those guys can be locked up. Do you feel like New Orleans has enough to say, hey, Boogie, we still have the team that almost made the playoffs. Do you feel like they have enough to at least recruit him back in to the Pelicans?
I mean, they have enough to recruit him back in, and I mean, this could maybe be a blessing in disguise for the Pelicans. And I know you might be sitting there going, Ricky, it's a torn Achilles. Could you please tell me how this is a blessing? And here's what I see. My big thought was Boogie or not, you weren't going to win the finals this year. Sorry to burst that bubble. And without Boogie, depending on the Nuggets, how they play, I could see this team being the 8th. If you make the playoffs, you're an 8 seed. But really, if you make the playoffs, you're not going anywhere without Boogie. This could be a positive, though, for the Pelicans because if you're looking to, hey, we're not going to trade him, we're going to re-sign him, the usual recovery time when people get to normal activity, which is like, hey, I can start to get back on the court again maybe and start doing stuff. At the worst, it's 6 months. So at the very worst, he's out till July. This could work to the Pelicans because some of those other teams might be like, you know what? Maybe we don't offer Boogie as much. Where the Pelicans could be like, no. Well, we want you back because of this. And other teams might be scared of it. I don't see that happening, though.
The one thing is, do you feel like DeMarcus Cousins will lose value, or do you feel like teams will still offer him max? Because it's still DeMarcus Cousins. He's still one of the top 10 players or 15 players in the league.
I
do you
think
feel
a
like
playoff team will still do it.
You still feel so?
I'm on the fence. I don't know if they give him a long-term max. I think that he might be best off taking a 1-year deal back from the Pelicans and maybe go for a prove-it kind of a contract because honestly, no one recovers well from an Achilles injury. Yeah. No one. It's just it doesn't happen. And if he believes in himself, he would do the prove-it contract. Otherwise, he will take a long-term deal and hope for the best.
Here's my thing. If you were the Pelicans, this is the best case scenario and worst case scenario, like Ricky said, because worst case scenario, you're probably not making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Best case scenario, you get to sign Boogie to a max contract, which you probably weren't able to say. You can go to Boogie, say, we'll give you 5 years, the most money a team can offer you because we have that ability, and we believe in you. We believe that with what our team was able to do with you on the court, we can be a playoff team. And hey, you might not return to your normal self, but we believe that you will be able to at least be a very, very positive player for us. And this is something that if it does pay off, New Orleans, a team that is usually last in attendance, usually last in profit margins in the NBA, could really put a spark into this team, and I think it's a very well worth risk. And I think that's going to be the thing with all NBA teams is you still see the risk and reward with DeMarcus Cousins. You see the risk of his personality, but now he's going to be working back to be healthy and be a player that can consistently be out there and be a threat like he was before. So he's going to be working his ass off to be the best player that he can be and be able to recover and be the same DeMarcus Cousins he was before this injury. So I feel like every team is going to offer him as much money as they possibly can. So I don't feel like that's really the issue here. It's just really, is he going to take a prove-it contract? Or is he going to sign a long-term deal?
The problem is, like, if they do that contract, then you're stuck with a max contract Boogie of a guy who may never be the same player again.
But he might be the same exact player, and this is a guy that you can keep around for 4 years.
No, but I'm putting those odds. I don't know those odds yet, but I would put them at like 60, at the highest 50% that he is the same player he is right now. That's how I'm giving you. It's 50% chance that this guy will be the same player. Is that enough to lock up 5 years of $30 million roughly? Like, that's a lot of money to lock up for a 50% chance that he will be the same quality player he is today.
But what else, how else are you going to get that value back if you're the New Orleans Pelicans?
Locked into bad contracts. Now we're going to sign them up for 5 more years.
But this isn't an Amir Sheik. This isn't an Alex Ajinya. This is a star. This is an NBA all-team player. Yeah, this is a DeMarcus Cousins. It's different than Amir Sheik had a really nice season. Let's bring him in.
Yeah, well, that was just bad.
This is more of a risk than a bad contract.
No, I got you.
It can turn into a bad contract. It can turn into a fatal contract.
Yeah.
But I think the risk of 50% it's Boogie or 50% we get a guy who's not the same player, but still, it's not like DeMarcus Cousins can't be a top 10 center or a top 5 center still in the league.
Remember how I said the worst, if it's the worst time to get back to the court, it's July. I almost said January. We're in January.
That's when free agency
July.
starts.
Well, July 1st is usually that day. What if it's the lower end of that? What if it's 4 months, 5 months? Then he's getting back to the court May, June. You can at least see how it's going him on the court before we have to give him a contract or offer him a contract, and you can kind of gauge it out. I think this is good case scenario for the Pelicans of, like you said, we can get Boogie for a max deal and get him to return because other teams might shy off. However, I still don't.
Well, I don't think teams are going to shy off. I think DeMarcus Cousins might say, "Hey, if I'm not going to be the same player, I could take a 5-year deal and make max money."
I sort of looking back.
That's why I don't think teams are going to shy off from DeMarcus Cousins.
What I could see happening is a team like, and I'm not saying team needs, I'm just saying playoff teams, like a team like the Celtics, the Raptors, the Rockets, a team that's a playoff team that has no question about the regular season. You know what? You're going to help us in the playoffs. Sign him, and then it's like, hey, you know what? You're just going to continue your process. When you're back, you're back.
But it's not like this is, DeMar. Are you signing him to a 4-year deal?
Whatever you think is comfortable.
Okay, but
whatever you want. I'm not necessarily saying max.
Let's use Boston as a because
that one's hard because of Horford's contract.
They're gonna offer. Well, they can move him to power forward. They don't have a center.
No, but I'm saying like the contract. I was looking at their contracts.
But what I'm trying to say is, I don't think teams are going to shy away because if you're getting DeMarcus Cousins, you're getting DeMarcus Cousins. And yes, it's a 50-50 chance that he's going to come back as the same player, but you still are willing to take that chance because it's DeMarcus Cousins. He is one of the best players in the NBA, one of the best players recently to hit the free agent market as well. And I mean, there's guys out there that are getting, Joakim Noah, who has been consistently banged up, got a 4-year, $72 million contract.
Yep.
I don't think that's going to shy people away from DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah, he might not be the same player, but if he is, great, we get DeMarcus Cousins on our team. So let's just use the Celtics as an example. You're saying hold him out and until he's 100%.
I feel like I feel like there will be playoff teams, and if you feel like he can help us in the playoffs, it's worth a shot.
Of course, DeMarcus is going to help you in the playoffs.
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying.
But what was the plan that you're trying to say? Hold him out until the playoffs?
Well, there's no you don't have to sign him and say, oh, you're going to be ready day one.
Yeah,
you can sign him and then be like, hey, you know what? We're not going to rush you back. We're going to ease you because we have a team that can win games, and we don't have to necessarily hurt our
I understand
spot.
what you're saying, but the only thing is that if let's just take Kawhi, who we just talked about in the podcast, as an example. Kawhi is not an outspoken player. He's a guy with a very mild manner.
And this is coming out of the most locked down NBA organization as a whole.
Yeah, if DeMarcus Cousins is trying to be the best DeMarcus Cousins that he can be, and he's fully healthy, and the team's telling him, stay back, it's going to cause massive problems. And that's going to be a problem outside of the fact that if he doesn't return to the same player.
Yeah, just to give you guys some context for timeline, like if it's potentially like worst case scenario, like Kobe was out from April till mid-December. April 12th to like December 8th, I think.
8 months.
So I mean that was a really bad rupture, but at the same time, like we don't know the degree of this Achilles injury yet.
Yeah,
like we don't know if it's total or like what state it's in. So yeah, I'm thinking you're right. Probably he will probably end up signing that long-term deal. He's not gonna see the court till next year, and then it just turns into like
8 months puts him in August.
Yeah.
So I mean, we still got September and October to come back.
Yeah.
Well, 8 months would be September. It would be 7 months would be August.
Whatever. Math's hard.
Yeah, you're right. No,
Math's hard on the show.
Well, no, because for
February, March,
I'm using
May.
Kobe's idea.
Oh, okay.
So April to December. Yeah. That's 8 months.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September would be 8.
You watch MVP for the math.
He'd be coming back.
No,
you're counting
the rest of the days in January.
Yeah. So
January,
late February, late March, late.
No, it'd be late January, late February, late March, late April, late May, late June, late July, late August. Late August, early September.
Don't count this month. It's already over. So
it's not over.
No,
it's
no,
26.
Wait. So.
Jesus Christ, guys.
We
spent a whole minute on counting months.
It's the 18th minute. If people are here, they want this math.
Here's what I'm going with. You following me?
Yeah, I'm following you.
February 26th, March 26th, April.
Why aren't you counting January 26th and January 27th?
Because we're already...
This is starting the process.
Day zero.
No. This is day zero.
Yeah.
So a month from now, it's February 26th. Then March, April, May, June, July, August, September 26th is 8 months from now.
When did Kobe suffer his injury?
April 12th.
April 12th. When did he come back?
December 8th?
December 8th. So that is less than 8 months.
Yeah.
So let's just say late August, mid-September.
No, December, it's around 8 months.
Let's say mid-August, late September. That's around there. You still the season hasn't even tipped off yet.
Yeah, no, point is,
yeah, you guys are awful.
He's coming back in the offseason. He's going to be working out. I don't think a team that's a playoff contender that would want to sign him will be scared depending on how he looks coming back.
Yeah,
that's the big part.
I think a lot of it will be how he looks early on and how hard of an injury this is to him. Like if this is like a grade, whatever grade it is, will depend on how well it goes. But I think
it's the highest grade 5.
I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Nice.
That's why you guys been best friends.
So yeah, I think that yes, there's interest out there, but it should scare teams more than I think it scares you. You're like, fuck, give him the money.
I think teams will be scared.
There's no chance. There's no reason to not give him money, is what you're saying.
There isn't. Give me a reason.
Because being locked in for 5 years.
4 years. It would be 4 years if it's a free agent team, or 5 years for New Orleans.
So let's say 4 years for another team of close to $30 million a year. Mm-hmm. It's a lot of money to lock up in one player who. Over the entire time span of players in the NBA, no one has ever come back close to what they were after. Because counting,
but
Mr. Kobe Bryant.
Quick question.
Real quick. When was Kobe? How old was Kobe when that happened?
That was in. I closed the tab. Hang on. Give me a sec.
My question is: let's say a team signs him then, and he can't
13.
He can't come back.
2013.
Could they technically do? I know it's a different situation, but let's say it's like, you know what? He's still injured. It's not working. Could they do what the Heat did with Chris Bosh?
No, because he's still playing.
Well, they'd keep him out. You're not playing anymore, and then eventually.
But the money's still there. No, because the problem with Chris Bosh wasn't cleared medically.
Okay.
So if Boogie is cleared medically, you have to pay him that money. You can't write him off. So that's different. You can't if he's able to play.
Throwing the question out there.
Even if it's with Joakim Noah. Mm-hmm. Joakim Noah sucks, but he's healthy. He's cleared to play. So that's the thing, is you can't get rid of that contract. So, but the thing with Kobe, what, 38 years old, 36 years old? 10 years older than DeMarcus Cousins is right now? I mean, that's one thing. I mean, it's gonna be different.
He was
for Kobe.
34 at the time of the
34.
injury.
DeMarcus Cousins right now, I think 28 years old.
I'm just saying, there's nobody with more willpower to win than Kobe Bryant, other than Michael Jordan.
But also,
so as far as
a 34-year-old body is not going to recover the same way as a 27-year-old body is going to recover.
Kobe's willpower versus DeMarcus. That's my only concern, man.
You can have all the willpower you want.
He goes to Germany like every year for magical doctors and all this shit.
Achilles isn't gonna be determined by willpower. I get that. You can be determined to get better.
I'm saying your recovery. And he did the whole remember the whole drama. He went over like Germany.
He got those shots,
supposedly PED question marks, all that stuff. And we watched how his game. And I know he was older, but his game as he came back. And that just turns into
Dave, I'm not denying this, but we saw Chandler Parsons play 14 games for Houston and Dallas, and he still got a max contract from Memphis. You're telling me that no team will give DeMarcus Cousins a max contract.
I'm not saying no team. I'm saying that I don't think it's a good idea.
I'm not saying it's a good idea either.
You are. You were saying you should give him the money regardless. There's a chance of him being a great player again.
Okay,
give him the money. That was your answer.
What I'm saying is that's going to be the thought of NBA teams.
Yeah.
So NBA teams are going to say, there is no problem in giving him this money because if DeMarcus Cousins comes back healthy and he's 100%, we get DeMarcus Cousins. Yeah. We get a top 15 top 10 player in the NBA for a max contract.
Yep.
Hell yeah.
That's a great deal.
Let's take that. There's no risk in that. I'm talking as a GM. Of course there's a risk, Dave. Dave, I'm not saying that DeMarcus Cousins is fine. Put a Band-Aid on it. He's gonna walk around. But I'm saying that NBA teams is that the reward is bigger than the risk with DeMarcus Cousins. If I'm an NBA GM, I'm not saying DeMarcus Cousins can be fine. I'm saying NBA GMs have proven to me that a player caliber like DeMarcus Cousins is worth the risk of giving him a max contract, whether he's going to be fully healthy or not. See Chandler Parsons. See Mike Glennon in the NFL. Potential is always going to give you money. Yeah. Not only does DeMarcus have potential, he also has the ability to prove it on the court. And yes, I get it. The injuries just happened. The injury is severe from what we understand. He's out for the season. But I'm definitely not outrighting 5 to 10 teams giving that man a max contract.
Question.
I think it's fair.
Could we see, no matter, the Pelicans maybe could do this better, but could we see a type of deal that Joel Embiid got? Could we see stipulations in there?
I think that
like Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Joel Embiid was just the first time it was taken to that degree. There had always been the ability to add in stipulations.
But does that have to be an extension, or does that have to be?
I think that's what I'm saying. Contract. Like, if it could be from free agency, then if I'm the Boston Celtics, why not do that? If I can put all these injury stipulations.
But DeMarcus has to agree.
No, I know. There's other options out there that are better.
And if DeMarcus is going to get a full guaranteed contract, then he's not going. Yeah. But I mean, that's definitely in the realm of possibility. But then it's really, a team might just give him a full guaranteed contract. And if he's not,
Brooklyn's going to make somebody pay for it if they don't take him up.
And if Brooklyn is not afraid that, hey, if it doesn't work out, he doesn't work out.
There's a chance of pairing him with D'Angelo Russell and that young
Jared Allen.
Hey man, if Garpax thinks he can bring us to an 8 seed, bring him on board.
He'll put asses in the seats.
Yep.
I just think that
on the ground.
I think that probably half the league is going to give him a max contract.
I think you're probably right.
If he hits the free market,
I think you're probably right.
Half the teams are getting a max contract. Yeah. Whether it's 50-50, it's still 50-50.
Does he join the Orlando Magic? That's the true question.
Is he the 12th starter?
No, because that would mean they would get a star. And they're not getting
Is he the first star?
I have a final question for myself.
Okay. Yep. We got 5 minutes, Dave, so take your time.
Would this prompt, if they start to lose a little, are you worried that this is a team that might blow it up? This is a team that if you see now?
This year?
Yeah.
This year, no.
Like after the season ends. Like if we go into free agency.
If they don't sign DeMarcus, well, the thing is that
if they don't sign DeMarcus, they blow it up.
But the thing that's going to hurt them is the fact that the NBA draft's in June.
Yeah.
And not July.
That's
so they don't know exactly what's going to happen. So I think it's a possibility. I don't think it happens until either Anthony Davis has because next year he's still going to have 2 more years left. So I think it's going to be either something with Kemba where he has a year left of control, or in his last year where they start trading Anthony Davis away. I don't think blowing up is happening in the next 2 years, though.
I mean, if you can move, you have Drew and Anthony Davis are your 2 core pieces to this team. So you have those 2 guys moving forward, even if they don't get Boogie back because some of the team gives them more money or better contract or whatever the case is. Yeah. Like, you still feel comfortable building a core because, you will be able to move off of Sheik's contract eventually. You will be able to get, some of that dead money gone. So there's still hope for the Pelicans regardless of this, you're saying?
I think so. And especially if they get Boogie. Because, if they bring Boogie back, then, hey, you get Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins for 3 more years.
Exactly.
So, and if Anthony Davis leaves, well, we have DeMarcus Cousins for 2 more years. And we've seen that guy can at least be a fun player to watch for a franchise. And, hey, maybe by that point, we our draft pick this year goes down. We have the ability to get a 3 that's going to help our team. And then we'll have Drew Holiday at the 1, E'Twaun Moore at the 2, an NBA draft player at the 3, and then 4 and 5. You got
Solomon
DeMarcus
Hill's
Cousins
still soaking up 12, 13 million a year.
But he's hurt right now. So we don't know when he's going to be coming back. So
they're still paying him the money.
He can be good off the bench. We never know.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting, though. Any final thoughts, Ricky?
No, none at all. I think that this will be, if the Pelicans get them back, blessing in disguise.
I think we can all agree with us. We just want to get food.
Yeah.
I am starving.
Okay.
I'll be
Dave,
honest.
any final thoughts?
Nope, we're good.
The tummy is a grumbling.
We love you. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluable podcast. You guys are the best. You can help us out and support us if you like. If you don't, then just keep watching. We love you. And we love Boogie as well. So big shout out to Boogie. I'm glad this isn't.
I hope it's a quick recovery. It's not as bad as it seems.
I'm upset that this isn't trade rumor talk for DeMarcus Cousins.
For the first time in 3 years?
Yeah, I'd rather have you move than be injured.
I thought we talked about it earlier this season. Didn't we?